Hello Dungeon Master. In this video we create a dungeon jumping puzzle. If you search the internet you may not see a lot of images of jumping puzzle maps. Well, you will see images from computer games, but that's not helpful for D&D apart from for inspiration. For that reason, we wanted to create one that you could use in your own D&D or roleplay game campaign. Firstly, we've set this jumping puzzle in a dungeon. Its actual location can be entirely up to you. Whether it's a path to a dragon's lair, or a passage beneath a noble's house leading to their treasured vault. The choice is yours. We usually accompany our maps with a few ideas, such as the cultist dungeon with an attached manor house above it, that must be entered and explored or infiltrated first, before finding the entrance to the secret passage. However, we wanted to provide you with a versatile map that you can place at any point in your game. It's like a puzzle piece that you can fit into various scenarios. Let us know in the comments if you prefer these types of single room maps, or if you'd rather have everything in one map. I'm going to show you a new feature that Dungeon Alchemist have added. As normal, you can change the colour of the light and the intensity of the flame, but now, if you select an object and on the keyboard press Ctrl and C, it will say Project Copied. You can then press Ctrl and V, and then as you highlight the other similar images such as lights, fires or other torches, it will change the items you've highlighted to have the same setting. This can save a lot of time. As you can see by the amount of bones on the floor, this is not such a secret area, or at least over the years a lot of people have tried to cross this jumping puzzle. As a player, one of the first things I would think of doing when seeing this is using Misty Step or teleport over if I can. As a DM, if you are happy with that, then crack on. However, a way you could use this map when you have players who have higher teleportation magic is to have the room have a strange property that mimics the magnetic properties of the Underdark, or interrupts and disrupts teleportation magics. In Aconite's campaign, he has created a natural and extremely rare material that can affect magic. Feel free to invent your own rules, but you might want to be careful and maybe have it powerless outside of your set pieces. For example, in a dungeon, Aconite allowed his monsters and the players who could cast Lightning Bolt to bounce the lightning off walls to hit additional targets, or their allies by accident if they were stood in line of fire. This was extremely awesome as the players got to feel big and clever having their magic do even more damage in that scenario. But when the monsters did it too, there was an element of dread to their turn. Once we left the temple and tried it in the open world, we realised it wasn't a new ability. It turned out after some investigation that it was the mineral in the walls that permitted this. This was a nice extra, and since we have several veteran players in the campaign, this was something new they hadn't ever experienced before. As the Dungeon Master, you will need to control this power for when and where it works. Yes, some might say if you put something in the game you should expect the players to be able to use it fully too. But as a DM, you should know by now everything can be abused, even without really meaning to. Do you want your magic users to have this ability full time? Will that affect monster statting for the other players? Will you have an imbalanced party, with some more powerful than others? You see,
this is why we can't have nice things, Barry!
You can use a jumping puzzle in a few ways. We decided to go with the elements.
Earth, fire, air, water.
This is pretty much like the game of rock, paper, scissors. You need to step on the next one in the pattern. For example, rock beats scissors, scissors beat paper, paper beats rock. However, with ours, stone snuffs out fire, fire burns air, air controls water, and water drowns stone. We add in these items at the beginning that give the answers to the players. Yes, it might be obvious, But don't worry, Dungeon Master. We know a lot of you like to feast on the tears of your players. Ooh, emotional drama. So we change it up a little halfway through. Here's Aconite's top tip.
Puzzles in D&D don't need to be extremely complex, as that could slow down the game's pace. Remember, it's meant to be a fun challenge for the players to solve together. And if they're struggling, you can always give them clues.
We add in abstract plates onto the stone so that we can import our own images. We add in some portals. These can be used to spawn enemies from and could trigger on a mistake, or if the room cannot use teleports, they could be just decorative. Equally, you could have the bones start animating and climbing the walls to reach the adventurers. This gives the puzzle an added pressure, and it's not just about choosing the correct path, it's doing that whilst having to attack and defend. The first half of the map, the images are quite easy to identify and understand, especially with the helpful hints on the plinth. We got transparent PNG images of the elements that we then placed on each of the steps. Don't worry, we haven't just put these down randomly. There is indeed a safe path through the room. We then change the images halfway through to a different symbol to give the players a bit of a worrying moment. As the DM, or just in case you're interested, the water and air symbol can look very similar, and it's easy to get confused between them. If you take the top left corner of the image, you will see one starts high and then goes down, and the other starts low and rises up. The way I remember it is water is on the ground, so it's the image that starts low, and air or wind comes from above, so it's the one that starts high. For this map, we decided to use poisonous gas. We could have gone with water or lava, but we felt the dungeon needed to have a slightly different challenge to it. The players may fall into the gas, so you need to decide what effect this will have on them. Are you a lovely dungeon master giving your players lots of chances? Or are you the type of dungeon master to make them roll new characters if they fall in? A few things to consider could be: how poisonous is the gas in your own game? Can players negate the damage at all? For example, will antitoxins or protection spells work for this? If teleportation doesn't work, healing spells still will, right? Right? If the players hold their breath while in the gas and get back up, will it affect them? Will the gas have a different effect? It might not be poisonous. You might have the classic laughing gas, or maybe something that will compel them to do something else. There is a lot of choice you could add to make this encounter fun and engaging. And it's completely up to you if you do use the
Earth, fire, air, water.
If you've enjoyed this video, please do hit that like button. And if you want to know when our next video goes live, hit that subscribe button too. If you're feeling fruity, you can support us on Patreon, where you'll get access to all of these maps and more. The details are all in the description below. We want to thank you for all of your support. You are amazing and extremely generous. We really do appreciate you. So until next time, may your dice be ever in your favour.